Hello, my name is Dr. James R. Golding, and you're watching A Natural Healthcare Alternative, the program dedicated to your health, longevity, and well-being. Today's topic is making change in your life. And what I want you to do as you listen to me is that we're going to go through a personal inventory of things that I feel you may need to do to make requisite changes in your life to make your life healthier, happier, more abundant. So as you watch, first make a decision of whether you are as happy and as healthy as you'd like to be. If you're totally happy, totally healthy, you're in geostationary orbit, you may want to change the channel and not watch me today. If there's something unquieting in yourself, physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, then I think you're going to want to listen to what I have to tell you today. First, we're going to take inventory on your physical health and well-being. If you haven't had a physical examination by either a MD or a chiropractic physician within the past year, I highly recommend that you go and have yourself a wellness physical examination. You'd be surprised when I come in contact with new patients, how many of them, when I ask who their family doctor is, they don't have one. If I ask them when was the last time they had a physical, and I have one annually, which is what I recommend for you, they say, well, I don't get a physical. I just go to the doctor whenever I need something. I said, well, that's not a very good way to go about promoting your health and wellness and what I call the yet disease. Anything that happens to happen to us that is, if we have enough advanced notice on things, we can usually make changes in our lives that influence our well-being, and it's like a super tanker. Super tanker takes a long time to turn, but if you turn it as you go along, everything's going on the straight and narrow. If you never know what's going on within your system physically, then it takes a cataclysmic event, a disease comes on quickly, and boom, it all could have been prevented. So don't get the yet disease. That's what you don't have yet, but you're going to get unless you get yourself a physical or wellness examination and evaluation. The next thing is that when people come in to see me and they have a problem and I need to order some blood work, and I say, well, when was the last time you had some blood work done? And they say, well, I don't remember. It was if I had a cold or flu when I went to the doctor's and he took some blood work. I said, do you remember what your cholesterol level was? Or did you ever have your vitamin D checked? Or any of these things? And you would be surprised at the people that do not have a clue of any of these vital basic pieces of health information. So if you have not had blood work done within the past calendar year, you're going to get a complete metabolic profile done. You're going to get a CBC, complete blood count with differential. And what you're going to do is you're also going to get a urinalysis performed. Very, very simple. Now, part of a problem that I see coming up is that more and more people regretfully have issues in regards to health care insurance. Either they don't have health care insurance, so they're not going to the doctor unless they absolutely have to because they have to pay out of their pocket. When a person is under financial duress and you go to some of these laboratories to have blood work done, it's best to let them know that, number one, you do not have insurance and that you are having financial difficulties. They take that cost of that blood work and they lower that price down. But as long as you sign these papers that this is truly what's going on, that you don't have health care insurance, they'll actually not charge you as much as they normally would, as if they didn't know that information. So please keep that in mind. Even though you don't have health care insurance, you can get blood work done, and you can know where you're at. Very, 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 very important, okay? Now, a big portion of my population patient base is older. And the reason is that we have more musculoskeletal problems as we get older. Arthritis bothers us more, posture starts to take over, we don't have as much lean muscle mass, people don't exercise as much, just gravity on the planet pushing us down towards Earth, the effects of becoming older, okay? Plus, we have an aging population, so I have a greater percentage of my patients are older than younger. When they come in to see me as new patients, I also have them write down the prescriptions that they're taking, okay? And what I found is something that's very, very, very disturbing to me, okay? It's not uncommon for people to come and see me. They may be under 8, 10, 12 prescription medications that they're taking on a daily basis. And the reason why it's disturbing to me is that on an individual level, each of those medications may be clinically indicated as prescribed by the treating physician, okay? But what I find is that a lot of times people are going to a lot of different doctors, and those doctors are not aware of all of the different medications that the patient's taking. So a lot of times, a lot of the medicine that they're taking is to deal with the side effects of the other medication and dealing with the side effects from the other medication. So after I get done, examining and evaluating and treating these patients, I come back to this topic of the medications, and I call their family physician to make sure that they're aware of all of the medicines that they're taking, because many times they're not, because they're going to the cardiologist, they're going to the urologist, and they're having that, they have benign prostatic hypertrophy, and they're taking Flomax, and they're taking Lipitor, and they're on all kinds of prescription medicines. Many times it's important to have a good family physician, because let's say you had to go into the hospital one day. You don't want to meet your doctor when you're in a critical, wounded, compromised state. That's one reason why you have to have a good family physician, because if, God, you had to be in the hospital, something happened like that, you just don't want to meet that guy there. You want him to know you, so that when he comes in, you feel good that somebody that knows you and cares about you and is competent is on your side to help to direct your welfare, care, your well-being, and potentially your life, okay? To not get wrong treatment, over treatment, because he knows what you're taking. So I talk to the family physician, number one, okay? The second thing I do is I ask the patient, I said, do you have, when you get your prescription medication, where do you get that done? Where do you buy your prescription medication? Is it always at the same place? Do you go to Rite Aid? Do you go to Valley Pharmacy? Do you have a pharmacy that you go to for your prescription medications? Most of the time, they do. Okay, they go to the same spot. I say, do you have a relationship with your pharmacist? And they say, not really. I mean, I know his name. I just go and pick up my medicine. I wouldn't put it as a relationship with my pharmacist. Well, they have the two places that you walk up to. They have the place that you either have the place that you put your prescription in, and the place that you put your prescription, take your prescription from, and you sign on things. And then usually right around the corner now, they have this thing where you can consult with the pharmacist. Rarely does somebody consult with the pharmacist, because they're saying, why the heck should I consult with the pharmacist? Because the pharmacist is more well-trained on medications than regretfully your family physician is. He knows of the interactions that occur between these medicines, and he knows what is contraindicated in groups. Now, your pharmacist is not going to tell you this unless you bring him a list of your medications and you set him aside and you ask him, is there anything within this formula of medications that I'm taking that may either counteract some of the effect of the medication, make it so that I'm going to get these side effects quicker, or is the medication causing me potential problems? They're really, really sharp. Pharmacists are underrated. They really are. They know their business. They know their stuff. Get to know your pharmacist by name and develop a relationship, because it doesn't cost you anything and can make the difference between your health or lack of, okay? So after I have them do that with the pharmacist, what I then have them do is that if there's numerous doctors involved, like I was saying before, we have the cardiologist and the urologist and this, I make sure that all of those doctors know all of the medications and they're aware of all of the things that are going on, okay? Because the doctor shouldn't trust the patient that they're automatically going to say that they're on all of these medications. So usually what happens is the beauty of it is after I go through this process, after I make these phone calls, you know what happens? Miraculously, that patient, a week later, is on a third of the medicines that they were a week before. A third of the medicines. And you know what? They start to feel better. They start to feel better under less medicine, because the doctors say, well, we can cut back on this. We can work in concert and with these other doctors, and we can minimize the soup that people are taking in. Also, you have to realize that as we grow older, our body cannot metabolize pharmaceutical medications. Your liver can't process it as well. These things get altered and messed up. Make sure that this stuff is in place in your life, okay? So those are steps that I want. Those are steps that I want you to take in regards to just your basic physical health. The other thing, if you've never had one of these done before, I can't stress it enough, okay? What this is called a hair analysis. We take a sample of your hair, and that's sent to a laboratory out in Chicago, and what they do is they check for 85 different things. This whole first component up into here, this is called toxic mineral accumulation. This measures a lifetime of poisons in your system and what effect that's going to have on your system. Whether you're going to get Alzheimer's, memory problems, whether you're going to have toxic overload, whether you're being toxic from your medication. It's going to check for all of these poisons that gradually accumulate, or it could be occupational exposure that you get. You're working with powders, or you're auto mechanic, or somebody that uses spray paint. I mean, you're breathing this stuff in your whole life. You want to know whether you should be proactive about detoxifying, getting stuff out of your system so that your system is not burdened. I mean, you don't go throughout the course of your life and never have the oil filter changed in your car. Most people get go to the oil change place every 5,000 miles, whatever they recommend, and they change the filter at the same time. Well, I'm talking about if you're toxic, you got to clean your filter. You got to change and clean your body's filtration system. It's a must, okay? And we're living in a toxic environment now. Even if you say, oh, I eat good, I eat healthy, don't worry. There's enough toxins around that, you need to get rid of them anyway, okay? The next component here, this is called nutrient mineral concentration. Now, these are minerals that should normally be present in a natural, healthy diet. Some of them are combined to make what we call vitamins. Some are minerals that just act in and of themselves, such as calcium or magnesium or sodium or potassium. And these should be in a certain balance in our system. If one was perfect, we'd be right in the center line, very similar to like a bell curve. If you're way down in here, that means you're deficient of that mineral in your system. If you have too much of that, that means you have excess of that mineral in your system, and that can also cause problems or cause burden in your system and well-being, okay? So, let me give you a case in point, okay? Here we're talking about chromium, okay? People that are low in chromium in their system have a much higher rate of adult-onset diabetes than those that don't have chromium in their system. It formulates something called glucose tolerance factor in your system, and that's a precursor for your body's making of insulin. So wouldn't you want to know that piece of information? We talk about vanadium. Vanadium is also utilized in your body's glucose system, and that is interrelated to whether you're going to get adult vanadium sulfate is intimately related to whether you're going to develop adult onset diabetes if you are low in that. That's just a fact, okay? Person is chronic fatigue. Well, your blood work comes back, your iron was good, but your cobalt is low. Cobalt forms cyanocobalamin, vitamin B12, which absorbs the iron that you're taking in your diet so that it can circulate in your bloodstream so that the air that you're breathing is converted to oxygenated hemoglobin so that you can perform tasks. If you don't have enough of that, you're wrong. You're just not right. You're feeling fatigued. Women now, we have problems with calcium. I do bone density tests. I check for vitamin D in the blood. We're low. They're osteoporosis or they have osteopenia, and they're taking calcium or their doctor puts them on calcium bone-building medication. Nothing seems to be working. We do a hair analysis, and what we find out is that they're either not absorbing the calcium that they're taking correctly or some of the synergistic nutrients, such as hydroxyapatite, such as magnesium, such as minerals that are characteristically in balance with calcium. Once we do this, we find out exactly what type of calcium they need, or whether because usually calcium is in practically about every food. It's just absorption of calcium is usually the issue. So by having one of these performed, we could then see what type of calcium you need, rebuild your bones, and get you to not have compression fractures or break your hip when you're older and then go south from there. I'm tired of that story, and I don't want that for you. So now we're talking about beverages, okay? And we're talking about fluid intake. Just cut to the chase, and I want you to start drinking more water. People would start to feel better if they just drank more water. Pure, clean, healthy, filtered water, okay? Not tap water. No. You don't have to buy really, really expensive water. No. But, clean source of water. I've talked many times about filtration systems in the past. Just start drinking water. Get rid and do not drink diet beverages. Anything that's a diet beverage, just get rid of it. The artificial sweeteners in there are not healthy for you. They cause and mimic bad blood sugar tolerances in your body and are just bad. So, if you just start drinking water and eliminate all those other beverages, just do it. Trust me, do it. Water today, now. Okay? So, I'm not going to get on an individual speech here today about specific nutrients today to take and about diets as I have in the past. I'm just shooting for the big picture. In fact, I'm getting behind because I'm stuck on this physical side where I meant to get to the whole psycho-emotional component of your happiness and well-being, which I'm probably going to have to do later. So one last thing that I want you to walk away with this component, of our talk here today, is that don't think that even if you eat healthy, you're going to get in all the nutrients that you can and you don't need to take vitamins or supplements. I'm sorry to tell you that is a fallacy. It's wrong. You do need to take vitamins. You do need to take some supplementation that's correct for what your particular needs are so that your body has the building blocks to get healthy, stay healthy, function correctly. If your car functions on high test, you don't go put regular in there, do you? You don't. And why? Because it just doesn't run as well. Well, you can run for a very long time, and what I'm talking about is you not just running well. I want you to run the way you're supposed to run. That is, at this point, the end of my physical lecture for today. Something that I didn't mention before, which I'm going to say now, is that in the near future, part of the reason for expanding the practice wasn't just because we're busy and we want to make it grow and flourish. Something I've wanted to do for a very long period of time was I wanted to have a chiropractic office that was open 7 days a week, very similar to like Your Doctor's Care or MedEmerge or Animerge or one of these things where or urgent care. And because what I find is that when people need a chiropractor, they need a chiropractor. Their back goes out on Sunday. What choices do they have? They have the choices to go to the hospital or, and it's just not, it just wasn't viable. Also, what I found is that so many people nowadays, they work so hard and so long. They're commuting into the city, and by the time they get back home, it's 7:30, and our office is open 12 hours a day. But even though it's often 12 hours a day, and we're there on Saturdays, it's not enough to meet their needs because they're not even getting home until after the office is closed. So I really, really wanted to have a chiropractic model upon which we were open 7 days a week, so that in emergency circumstances and in circumstances in which people work in the city but want to have a chiropractor that's out here and want to be want it so that they can get treatment on Sunday, I want to do that. And that's part of what the facility's already in place, and I think it's going to be an excellent model for now and in the future. And I think just like the banks are open 7 days a week, thank God, like people are working all the time. I can remember when I first started in practice, the bank used to close at like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. You had to go over lunch. It was crazy. No, I'm going to make it so that you can come in for good, high quality chiropractic care when you're off and not have to take time off of work in a nice, relaxed manner, all of the above. And for Natural Healthcare Alternative, I'm Dr. James R. Golding, and thank you for viewing.